Please welcome to the show, Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn, did you ever
What's
think
up,
you'd
guys?
be back? Cheers.
Excited to be
Cheers.
back. Don't worry. I got this nice throwback Gatorade can.
Well played. Product placement.
There we
Well
go.
played. Our show loves it. Our show loves it.
What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
You know, there's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you know, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
Congrats on your retirement, D.
Thank you.
And congrats
Now-
to you.
Unfortunately,
Hall of
reality
Fame.
is coming to me now.
What's your big plans?
in early.
What are you going to do?
You know, I keep telling Sue I thought I was going to have all this time to do all these things. I'm more busy now. So if I give you any advice, play as long as possible.
We'll see. We'll get to 10 years. Then we'll think about it.
It's 10.
What was it like for you two to play against each other?
It was amazing. You know, I've been following Caitlyn for so long and been watching her college career just in awe. And to be on the court and, you know, the first game was in Phoenix and it felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. There was such anticipation. The crowd was going crazy. All the people that came out to see Caitlyn and you know, our teams play against each other. It really was an amazing moment. And you talked about how, you know, if you could play against anyone that is this new generation. So I got to cross paths with Caitlyn, at least for a couple games. And to me, that meant a lot, you know? Like, we've been doing this for a long time, and to see Caitlyn do what she does is, I think someone said the other day, I'm like, I want the season to start so I can watch you again.
When Caitlyn Clark faced off with legends Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, it was more than just a meeting of basketball royalty. What happened next will blow your mind. From raw, unfiltered truths to explosive revelations, this live Zoom interview revealed moments you won't see anywhere else. Get ready, because what Caitlyn Clark exposed will leave you speechless. Stick around for the inside scoop that's shaking up the WNBA. When Caitlyn Clark appeared on screen for the interview, it wasn't just another scripted appearance. This wasn't a polished, media-trained version of Caitlyn giving the same answers we've heard from athletes 100 times before. No, this was something special. This was a raw, unfiltered opportunity for Caitlyn to truly speak her truth. She wasn't posing for the camera, wasn't offering pre-packaged lines designed for a good soundbite. She was laying it all out: her journey, her struggles, her victories, and yes, even the doubts she faced when making the leap into the professional ranks. This was a conversation where the curtain was pulled back, revealing Caitlyn not just as an athlete, but as a person navigating the chaos of becoming one of the biggest names in the game. From the outside, it might look like she's been on top of the world since her college days at Iowa, but in the interview, Caitlyn was candid about the bumps along the way. She touched on the challenges of stepping into the WNBA, where the game is faster, the competition fiercer, and the expectations unrelenting. Caitlyn was quick to admit that the transition wasn't as smooth as everyone might think. College basketball, while competitive, is a different beast compared to the professionals she now faces. When you come from college, you think you're prepared for everything, Caitlyn confessed. But then you step onto the court with people who have been doing this for years, and it's a whole different level of speed and intensity. The physicality of the WNBA hit her hard in the beginning, and while her talent was undeniable, it became clear that there was a lot of adapting to do. She also spoke about the mental side of the game, the pressure to constantly perform, not just for herself, but for the entire league's eyes that were now fixed on her. But what stood out even more was her humor. Caitlyn isn't just a fierce competitor, she's got wit, and it shines through in moments like these. Despite the hardships and adjustments, she managed to find humor in her journey. She cracked jokes about her early struggles, poking fun at herself for not always having it all figured out. Some days, I felt like I was barely hanging on, she laughed. But then I'd remind myself, hey, you've got this. It wasn't just about basketball. This was Caitlyn offering us a glimpse into her world, where humor, confidence, and competition aren't mutually exclusive. She knows how to keep herself grounded and how to laugh through the chaos. This wasn't just an athlete telling a story. It was Caitlyn Clark offering a front-row seat into her life, one where she's still growing, learning, and constantly striving to become better. Now, let's rewind to a pivotal moment that set the stage for what followed. A year ago, Diana Taurasi, arguably one of the greatest players in WNBA history, gave Caitlyn Clark a reality check. Diana, known for her fierce attitude and veteran wisdom, looked straight into the camera and said, "Reality is coming." This wasn't just a casual comment. It was Diana's way of warning Caitlyn that the WNBA would be a different world. It wasn't just about raw talent anymore. It was about toughness, about consistency, about going up against seasoned pros who had been through it all. At that time, Diana's words carried weight. She'd been through the grind of the WNBA for over a decade. She knew how challenging the transition would be for someone who had dominated in college like Caitlyn had. Diana had faced the toughest competition, and she knew how fast-paced and unforgiving the professional league could be. You look superhuman playing against college players, but when you get to the WNBA, you're going to face grown women who have been playing this game for years, Diana warned. But Caitlyn wasn't rattled. Far from it. She wasn't the type to back down from a challenge. When Caitlyn responded to Diana's comment, she didn't get defensive or try to prove anything with words. No, Caitlyn took a different approach. With her signature cool demeanor, she gave a slight smirk and said, "Congrats on your retirement. Unfortunately, reality is coming to me now." That wasn't just playful banter, it was a statement of confidence. Caitlyn was ready to prove she was more than capable of handling whatever the WNBA threw her way. The energy in that moment was palpable. Diana, a legend in her own right, had given Caitlyn a challenge, and Caitlyn wasn't backing down. Instead of letting Diana's words shake her, Caitlyn took them as fuel to keep pushing forward. When Caitlyn responded, it wasn't just about standing her ground. It was about her knowing that she had the ability to step into the WNBA and handle whatever came her way. She wasn't going to be intimidated. She was going to rise to the occasion. And fast forward to the current season, Caitlyn has lived up to those words. She's proven herself time and again, standing tall against the league's best. Fast forward to their actual showdown in Phoenix, a game that felt like a collision of two basketball generations. On one side, there was Diana Taurasi, one of the most iconic players in the history of the WNBA, who had built her legacy over years of dominance. On the other side, there was Caitlyn Clark, the young star who had quickly captured the basketball world's attention with her explosive talent and unshakable confidence. Caitlyn's team found themselves down by 10 or 15 points during the game, and the situation looked dire. A loss seemed inevitable, but Caitlyn didn't flinch. In fact, it was the exact moment you'd expect from a player of her caliber. She led her team back, rallying them to a stunning comeback victory. It was a performance that went beyond stats. It was a statement. Caitlyn Clark was ready for this moment. Diana, of course, was watching this all unfold. She'd seen many players come and go over the years, but there was something about Caitlyn's style, her energy, and her resilience that struck her. Reflecting on that game, Diana spoke about the surreal experience of sharing the court with someone like Caitlyn. "It felt like the last game ever played in that arena," Diana recalled. The crowd was electric, and the atmosphere felt as though the two were part of something bigger than just a regular game. But while Diana's take was filled with nostalgia, Caitlyn's reflection was driven by pride and determination. "We were down, but we came all the way back and won," Caitlyn said, her voice brimming with pride. She wasn't just talking about the win itself. She was talking about what it represented. It was proof that she could go head-to-head with one of the best, rise to the occasion, and come out victorious. For Caitlyn, that win wasn't just another entry in her stat book. It was a defining moment in her career, and she would carry that confidence with her moving forward. With the new season on the horizon, Caitlyn Clark is feeling a mix of excitement and anticipation. She's no longer just the rising star. Now, she's the player everyone is watching. The expectations have skyrocketed, but Caitlyn isn't one to shy away from the challenge. Instead, she's embracing it. The addition of new head coach Stephanie White has certainly added fuel to the fire. Caitlyn spoke about the excitement of having a new coach, someone who brings fresh ideas and a new energy to the team. And then there are the veterans joining the roster. Natasha Howard, Dwana Bonner, and Sophie Cunningham, players with playoff experience and leadership skills, are now part of Caitlyn's squad. And Caitlyn couldn't be more excited. "This team has so much potential," she said with a grin. "But it's going to take time to get everything in sync." She's realistic about the challenges ahead. 7 new players mean there's a lot of chemistry to build in a very short window before the season kicks off. But Caitlyn isn't worried. In fact, she's ready to roll up her sleeves and get to work. "We have a really good team on paper," she said, "but we have to put it together." Caitlyn is all about the process. She knows that it won't happen overnight, but she's confident that with time, they'll get it right. One of the key factors Caitlyn is most excited about is the wealth of experience the team now has. In past playoff runs, Caitlyn's team lacked the depth and veteran leadership to make it all the way. But with Natasha Howard and Dwana Bonner, both of whom have been in the trenches during the playoffs, Caitlyn is optimistic. "Having that experience is huge," she said. "It's going to make a difference in the postseason." Even with all the excitement, Caitlyn's eyes are on the bigger picture. She's not just looking forward to a fun season, she's looking forward to a championship run, and she's committed to putting in the work to make it happen. You've likely seen the viral photo of Caitlyn Clark from the offseason, where her arms looked more defined and muscular than ever. The basketball world immediately took notice, sparking a flurry of questions from fans and analysts alike. Was it just the camera angle, or had Caitlyn really been hitting the gym hard? Was this just a fleeting moment, or was Caitlyn serious about taking her game to the next level? Well, Caitlyn herself put those questions to rest when she admitted that, yes, she had indeed spent hours in the weight room during the offseason. But what was even more revealing was her explanation of why she was doing it. This wasn't just about building muscle for the sake of appearances. Caitlyn had one thing in mind: becoming more dominant on the court. And that meant not just getting stronger for the physicality of the WNBA, but also improving her overall game. She shared that her off-season focus wasn't just on bulking up. It was about enhancing the skills that would make her even more dangerous in the professional league. "The biggest thing for me this year is improving my mid-range game," Caitlyn said, speaking candidly about her off-season goals. She mentioned working on a floater to finish through contact, something she wasn't comfortable with in the past, but has now perfected. "I wasn't comfortable in the mid-range before," Caitlyn admitted. "But now I'm more confident in that area of my game." And that's not all. Caitlyn's offseason was about developing the kind of versatility that would allow her to dominate in every area of the court. Whether it was increasing her endurance, strengthening her legs, or building explosive power for her drives to the basket, Caitlyn was committed to improving in every possible way. Her goal was never to simply keep up with the competition, it was to surpass it. The off-season photo that sparked so much buzz was just a small part of the transformation Caitlyn underwent. And though it sparked plenty of jokes, it also showed how serious Caitlyn is about her evolution as a player. She wasn't just training to stay competitive, she was training to dominate the court, and it's clear that when the season starts, we'll see an even stronger, more confident Caitlyn Clark than ever before. One of the most talked about stories surrounding the Indiana Fever in recent times has been the accusations about their locker room environment. Legendary player Sheryl Swoopes made some eyebrow-raising comments, claiming that the Fever's locker room was toxic and filled with turmoil. But Caitlyn Clark, as always, wasn't one to shy away from tough subjects. She took the opportunity in the interview to clear the air and set the record straight. Caitlyn didn't mince words when addressing the rumors. She made it crystal clear that the locker room wasn't divided or dysfunctional as some had suggested. In fact, she described the team as being incredibly tight-knit. "It's easy for people on the outside to assume they know what's going on inside the locker room," Caitlyn said. "But at the end of the day, it's just the girls and the coaching staff that matter. And that's all that counts." She went on to explain how, despite a rocky start to the season, the Fever's young team was able to build strong relationships and grow stronger together as the season progressed. Caitlyn was candid about the early struggles, acknowledging that they were a young group that needed time to adjust to the rigors of the WNBA. "We were a young group," she admitted, "and we needed some time to figure things out. But once we did, we had one of the strongest locker room atmospheres I've ever been a part of." Her message was clear. While the media and outsiders may try to paint a negative picture, Caitlyn knew the truth. And the truth was that the Fever were united, supportive, and committed to each other both on and off the court. She added that the team's chemistry was the key to turning things around during the season, and that the unity in the locker room helped fuel their eventual success. For Caitlyn, it was important to remind everyone that locker room dynamics are more complicated than what we see on the surface. What truly matters is the bond between teammates, and Caitlyn made it clear that despite any rumors, that bond was unshakable in the Fever's locker room. As one of the most dominant forces in women's college basketball, Caitlyn Clark has faced off against some of the most prestigious teams in the country. But when it comes to UConn, Caitlyn knows she's up against one of the best, if not the best, programs in women's basketball. Her battles with Geno Auriemma's squad have been intense, and Caitlyn spoke candidly about the unique challenge that comes with facing UConn. "What makes UConn so tough is that they are so disciplined," Caitlyn said, reflecting on her experiences playing against them. She spoke about how their defense is always on point and how every player knows exactly where they need to be on the court at all times. "They always had some of the best scouts against me," Caitlyn added, admiring the attention to detail that UConn brings to every game. She could tell that Geno Auriemma's coaching staff studied her every move, always adjusting to try to neutralize her strengths. "You could tell how smart he is," Caitlyn said with a mixture of respect and frustration. "He always has an answer." Despite the challenges UConn presented, Caitlyn spoke with nothing but admiration for their program. She also took a moment to highlight one of UConn's brightest stars, Paige Bueckers. Caitlyn has faced Paige multiple times during their college careers, and it's clear that she has immense respect for the young guard's game. Caitlyn praised Paige's poise and maturity on the court, noting that nothing ever seems to faze her, no matter the pressure. "She's one of the best players I've faced," Caitlyn said. "Her poise is something you really need when you're coming into the WNBA. The game moves so fast and there's so much pressure, but Paige just has this calmness to her that allows her to perform under the brightest lights." Caitlyn also noted Paige's versatility, her ability to play both point guard and off the ball. "She can play anywhere," Caitlyn said, "and that's why she'll be such a force in the WNBA." It was clear that Caitlyn's respect for Paige runs deep. But even beyond Paige, Caitlyn recognizes the strength of UConn's program and the impact it has had on women's college basketball. The way UConn has shaped the game and developed players has set a high bar, and Caitlyn is determined to rise to it. As the interview wound down, one thing was abundantly clear. Caitlyn Clark is not just a rising star in the WNBA, she's already a household name in women's basketball. But more than that, she's thinking ahead. She's already looking at the future with the same intensity and drive that has defined her career so far. Caitlyn's growth as a player, her leadership skills, and her unwavering work ethic are setting her up to become one of the brightest stars the league has ever seen. She's already achieved so much, but Caitlyn knows that this is only the beginning. "I'm excited for the new season," she said, "and I'm ready to keep pushing myself and my team to be better." And as we watched her talk about her future, her eyes shone with a determination that made it clear Caitlyn is only getting started. Whether it's her physical transformation, her mental approach to the game, or her leadership in the locker room, Caitlyn is ready to take on whatever comes next, and she's already setting the stage for an unforgettable career. The future of women's basketball is in good hands. With players like Caitlyn Clark leading the way, it's clear that the league is only going to get bigger, better, and more exciting. So, what's next for Caitlyn? Only time will tell, but based on what we've seen so far, it's safe to say that she's going to continue shattering expectations and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Caitlyn Clark's journey is just beginning, and with her confidence, leadership, and unmatched drive, she's set to make history. The WNBA will never be the same again. Mark my words, we're witnessing the rise of a true legend. If you don't want to miss a single moment of her incredible journey, hit that subscribe button right now. Join the movement, because Caitlyn Clark's story is one you'll want to follow every step of the way. Subscribe now and be part of the future of basketball.